Hey Harmonizers, welcome to this video of Dulcie doing some of her obstacle updates. So this is Dulcie, the Mustang that I've been working with, who's only a couple weeks into training and ended up coming with me to Vermont. And then we had all of these obstacles set up after doing one of the Become the Center of Your Horse's Universe clinics, where we do an obstacle session. So all this stuff was already set up. And I was like, all right, let's bring Dulcie in and see how she does with everything. So I'm going to share with you guys some fun different obstacles, as well as you get to see how she reacts to them and get to see what I look for and what I think would be a great extreme cowboy horse or a really good obstacle horse. So here's a really simple obstacle. This is just a Western saddle pad on the ground, but it's colorful. It squishes a little bit when you step on it. And it's kind of a smaller obstacle, so it's a little bit confusing for the horse. And you can see that Dulcie kind of steps over it. She's unsure. So I just reassure her, give her a little scratch. And then here I'm just going to speed the footage up so that way you're not sitting here for, 5-10 minutes watching her work through this. But what I love about Dulcie is she tries, she goes forward and she tries. She doesn't have any big no reaction. There's no super big scramble across. Nothing looks really too difficult to stay on her back if you were riding her. And she kind of does this with all of the obstacles that we work through, even though she might say she's a little worried. She never does anything that's super scary or big. A lot of horses will jump across, that's pretty normal, or they'll scramble across, or they kind of lose their brain for a moment as they get overwhelmed and scared. But she's really good at staying a thinker and really calm about things, especially when she does them. One of the other things that was really good, she got used to applause really well. And the people that were watching at the clinic, a lot of them stayed on to watch her do her session as well. And we ended up posting this whole video up on our membership site for our Harmony Horsemanship members as well. But the people that were watching, we practiced doing some applause, and I could cue them to applause and whatnot. And she all did that very, very well. This one, she was a little bit more scared of with the bear there, but you can see she still went through, and not in a crazy sort of way that really pulls on my rope or anything like that. She really thinks her way through. So here we're going to send her around again. Anything that she does that she's a little bit unsure, I just repeat it until she does it more relaxed and really confident with it. So I really think she could have a great future doing a mountain trail or anything, obstacles, extreme cowboy racing. I'm not really sure just yet because we do have to get her started under saddle. But first things first is we're building up her confidence, and then I'll be taking her with me to the Maryland Mustang Tip Challenge. And then once she gets home after that, then we'll start getting her started under saddle. So this was interesting here because I had the Harmony Horsemanship flag, which she has not seen before. And what's interesting, when we were at home, we did have a flag set up, and she kind of looked at it a little bit, and it was something that she was a little bit more timid about, which totally makes sense because they use flags to sort the Mustangs when they're sorting them for just from different pen or into a chute and things like that. So it makes sense that a flag would be a thing that's potentially more scary for her. And she saw this flag here for the first time and set up. She was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I'm actually okay with that. So she remembers really well different objects. She's able to categorize them better than a lot of horses, where they'll say, well, that's a new flag, or it's a new location, or I don't recognize that. And they need to kind of start over from scratch a little bit and build their confidence up, where she remembers really well and maintains her progressions with the different obstacles, which is really awesome. So that's another reason why I think she could make a really great obstacle related showing type horse, is she tends to be really calm and collected, but she also tends to retain that information and that training really, really well. I've definitely had some Mustangs before that tend to need more repetitions, or you come back to something and they definitely need a little bit of a reminder or exposure to it again before they're okay with it. Even compared to Tom's Treasure, who's my Palomino Mustang at home, she's really good with most things, but mattresses, she comes back to those and usually needs to be a little bit wary of it a couple times first before she's okay with it again, whereas Dulcie seems to be much more, I guess you could say, brave or confident with new things. Once she's kind of mastered it, she seems like, okay, like this is pretty good. I can handle that. So that's really awesome to see. And what I'm also doing when I'm going around right now is I'm seeing, what would I want to do as part of a freestyle? Because that's something that I have to start thinking about with her. And of course, not everything is portable. So even though she gets really good at going over the mattress here, not going to bring a ginormous mattress with me to a freestyle, but all of the other things that are a little bit more easy to bring, we're assessing, what would Dulcie be good at? So this is her being asked to cross over the big thick mattress for the first time. And she's done some little squishy mattresses already. You can see she tries jumping it, which is a pretty reasonable response. Again, not super crazy or too animated. She just does a simple jump, comes back, and then she's like, oh, okay, you want me to walk on it. And she kind of crawls over the edge, not go perfectly straight like what I want her to do. So I just resend and ask her to go straighter and walk all the way across with all of her legs. And she does it so calmly and so nicely. And that is a very big mattress. It is very big, very squishy, very thick. Their legs definitely kind of get engulfed by mattress when they go over it. And she learned that so fast. There's a lot of horses that need a lot more repetitions, a lot more try, a lot more time to kind of investigate. And Dulcie's definitely kind of gotten to this place where she's like, all right, like, what do you want me to do now? This crazy human with all of her things that she wants me to do. Here's some of the noodles, which is a good test to doing the noodle obstacle, which I did bring a noodle obstacle with me, so that will be great. Actually, my noodle obstacle is set up. You guys will see that in a minute here. So I just did that a couple times, and then when she was okay with that, brought it a little bit closer so that way she could go through that again, but she's getting her reward after each time. And it's so awesome to see her progressing so well. It's such a great example of using positive reinforcement, how when you boost that motivation, boost that try, you get that horse progressing really fast. And you can see there I brought the noodles much closer together, still did an awesome job, earns that cookie there. Here's going through a turtle sandbox, which these obstacles can take horses quite a while to figure out. They can be a little bit intimidated, especially when they have to lift that foot and go in. The curtain obstacle was a little bit harder for her, so I've sped this footage up a little bit so that way it just goes on a little bit faster. But you can see I keep her straight. I ask her to try. And when she does go through, she doesn't bolt through or really scramble through. She really thinks her way through. She just kind of hesitant in the beginning. She's not really sure about sticking her head through that. So I have to encourage her, stay patient, stay polite, and I just kind of keep her straight, and then eventually she goes through, and it's really calm and relaxed. And even though the footage is sped up, you can see she's not really bolting through or rushing through. Looks pretty good, pretty relaxed, and very thinking the whole time. So this is now in real time footage, so you can see how she kind of lowers her head and just goes right through. Such a thinking little horse. So here's speeding up, going through my noodles, and then this is her first time doing these noodles here. So I let her go across them first, and then I was asking her to halt over top of it, which she was a little bit unsure about. So I keep asking her to halt, and then eventually she finally gets that. And then I'm asking her to sideways over the noodles the first time. So she does tip over the noodles, which for some horses, that could be completely terrifying, and then they might not want to go back over the noodles. But she actually just kind of thought about it, and she's like, all right, I guess that's not the right answer. And then it took a little bit of getting her to do the sideways. You can see I had to do a few repetitions, but all in all, she learned that really quickly to do the sideways, and this is all the first time that she's ever seen this. So we can keep that in mind. It just kind of makes it a little bit more impressive there at how fast she was able to learn sideways over top of these noodles sticking up, which is super awesome. So here's a little bit in regular speed now of her going halfway over the poles, or the pool noodles, getting her cookie, having a moment to just kind of relax. She's definitely the type of horse where if you give her a second to think about it, then things generally go a lot better. Did a beautiful sideways there, really nice and straight, which is what we're looking for. And then here, just kind of speeding up footage again to show you her going over the tire, which is basically a pedestal, but it kind of moves a little bit. It's got a board attached in the middle, and so the tire gives it a fair bit of play. So it's almost like taking your horse on a bit of a trampoline. And then here, her first time being asked to jump the noodles, which she does ever so beautifully. It actually gives a really good stop with her hind end coming in. So that was her on the obstacles. And then somebody at the clinic had a steel trailer. So I said, hey, can I just pop my horse on that real quick before you guys head out at the end of the day? And they said, sure. So I brought Dulcie out, and as we walk up, she wasn't even really looking at the trailer so much as I think she was being hesitant, wondering what the person holding the door was doing, because she's still a little bit wary of people who aren't me. And for the Mustang challenge, they have to be able to walk onto a steel trailer. So I thought, well, this will be a great opportunity to load her and do that. And so here she's just a little bit reluctant to come forward. So I just keep asking politely, just kind of keeping her nose straight. And then when she's ready, she hops on all the way. She's going to earn her little cookie, and then I'll get her to hop off and I'll redo it. Because I always like to leave things with more relaxation and understanding than how I found it. And if she was a little bit unsure, I'd like to leave her thinking like, okay, no doubt in my mind, when Lindsay does this, that's what I'm asking for him. That's what I'm expected to do. So she did that really well. And then after coming off, just taking her back on the trailer again, just to make sure that she's really smooth with that. Whenever they have a lot of a hesitation, it's usually a good idea to just redo the thing, whatever it was. Sometimes not. Sometimes it can backfire if the horse is mentally really done, but you just have to be good at reading your horse to understand if they've reached their max potential or if they have the opportunity to just get that a little smoother, which Dulcie did here really, really nicely. And then I'll end up backing her out of the trailer there. So awesome that they had that steel trailer, because stepping onto a steel trailer is very different than stepping onto my trailer with the insulation and the fiberglass and the aluminum. It all absorbs all the sound a lot better and can make it really difficult for the horse when they step onto a noisy trailer. So I definitely needed something different. So then the last part here is Dulcie doing her first ever run through of my freestyle. So this is me experimenting with, this is what I think is going to go well, because she jumps, she does the sideways, and then I'm taking her around to the Liverpool, and I figure she may as well stand on a Liverpool while I hook up her long lines to it, so at least it's like a difficult ground tie. And I decided I really wanted to try showing some long lining, because it's a difficult skill and a progression to be able to teach the horse, and she does it so nicely and comes in there, stands on that pedestal, do the flag, and easy peasy finish with our little bow. So that's all looking super awesome. Just wanted to share at the very end here just a couple cute little clips. This is down the hill from where we were staying. This is a river area, super cool because that's a shallow area with the rocks, and depending on how high the water is depends on how shallow that is or where it is. And then at the clinic there was this other little girl, Harper, and so Evelyn and her were playing. We all went to the water together and just playing in the kiddie pool back at the farm as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed that and wish you guys a good day.